The relationships between the upper ranks. Like the pillars in the Demon Slayer Corps, the demons also have a group of their strongest members, the 12 Kizuki. Even though the 12 Kizuki made their appearance in the series, during battles with the Demon Slayer Corps, there were only 2 scenes where the demons had any interaction with each other. The lower rank meeting scene and the upper rank meeting scene in the Infinity Castle after Daki and Gyutaro's defeat. Muzan had been working behind the scenes to keep the demons from forming groups and prevent them from working together to defeat him. That's why you don't see demons fighting side by side, or even seeing them being together in the first place. However, there are a few exceptions, and when you look at them, you can see a few interesting similarities. Today, we'll be looking at the top of the 12 Kizuki, the upper ranks, and the relationships among themselves. To get a better look at the demons' personalities, we'll also be looking into their relationship with Muzan. So, stay tuned. We'll actually look at Muzan's relationship first. Let's get right into it. Muzan and Gyutaro. First off, let's take a look at Muzan's relationship with upper rank 6, Gyutaro. Gyutaro ranks the lowest among the upper ranks, but Muzan gives him high grades and has high expectations for him. In the official fanbook, it states that Gyutaro is a favorite and that he highly values Gyutaro's circumstances and greed. Even in the series, it's shown that the emotions he had as a human were still strong after turning into a demon, making him absolutely hate and envy society. He was jealous of Tengen's looks and got irritated when he found out about Tengen's 3 wives. All the hate and envy towards society directly translate to the demon's rationality and ruthlessness. So it's no surprise that Muzan has high expectations for Gyutaro. Even after Gyutaro was defeated, Muzan thought Gyutaro would have won if Daki wasn't there, claiming that he would have won if he had fought from the beginning. From this quote, it's clear as day how much Muzan expected from Gyutaro. Muzan isn't usually interested in anyone other than himself, so for him to call Gyutaro his favorite really says a lot. That could be why even though Gyutaro was the upper rank 6, the lowest of the upper ranks, Muzan treated him so well. Muzan and Daki. Compared to her brother, Gyutaro, Daki's reputation is rather harsh. According to the official fanbook, Muzan only thought of her as a dumb child. Even after living for over 100 years, she still threw tantrums like a child. And whenever she had some kind of issue, she would scream for her brother's rescue. It seems her mental age stayed the same as the child she was. Even for her battle during the Entertainment District arc, she was called a burden. She was probably just an add-on for Gyutaro. Even in actual fights, it seems like Gyutaro controlled Daki is their go-to strategy for victory. Wait, wasn't Daki praised by Muzan in the series? That was a thing, right? Yeah, she was praised for defeating 7 pillars and was told she was a special demon that could get even stronger. This was probably part of Muzan's motivation control plan, praising a dumb child to make them work for him. However, in reality, Daki was called a burden, and Muzan's true feelings towards her was simply that she wasn't fit to be an upper rank. Muzan and Gyokko. Gyokko's first appearance was when all the upper ranks were summoned for a meeting at the Infinity Castle. When you think of Gyokko, you think of his selfish personality and how much he likes to show off. When fighting Muichiro, Gyokko talked like he was better than him. In the Infinity Castle, when Muzan picked up his head after cutting it off and treated him miserably, even though he gathered useful information, he showed the masochist side when interacting with Muzan. His looks are very eye-catching, but the way he talks is also disturbing. Surprisingly, Muzan claimed Gyokko as one of his favorites. The reason? His spots are pretty and sell for a decent price. Daki told Tanjiro that demons don't need money to eat, so being able to sell things for a good price seems sort of irrelevant. However, Muzan was camouflaging into the human society, so it's possible that he needed money then. Gyokko himself was also proud of his spots, and there were a few scenes of him bragging about them. When Muichiro made fun of one of his spots for looking asymmetrical, he was furious. Gyokko might actually be somewhat of an artist. Muzan and Hantengu. Hantengu's appearance was the same as Gyokko's when they met up after 113 years. Hantengu was irrationally afraid of Muzan and his consistent bad mood. When fighting Tanjiro, he was constantly acting like he was the victim, claiming that Tanjiro and his friends were bullies who were picking on the weak. Compared to the overly confident Gyokko, it seems like Hantengu is a coward with a strong victim mentality. Muzan thinks of Hantengu as normal, occasionally annoying, but within tolerance. To Muzan, Hantengu's abnormal fear towards towards him might have been seen as hypocritical courtesy. His blood demon techniques were odd and disturbing, but he was strong enough to be part of the upper ranks. However, there doesn't seem to be anything more than that. Muzan and Akaza. When you think of Akaza, you immediately think of the upper rank 3 that fought against Kyojuro during the Infinity Train arc. Regardless of his stoic stance and his rough life from human to demon, he always ranks high in the popularity polls. The first time Muzan and Akaza made their appearance together was in between the Infinity Train arc and the Entertainment District arc, much earlier than the others. Akaza had gone to meet Muzan, who was disguised as a child at the time, to report the progress on the Blue Spider Lily search and to report what had happened during the Infinity Train battle. When Akaza proudly reported that he defeated the pillar, Muzan berated him, saying that defeating just one pillar wasn't much of an accomplishment. He continued to lash out at Akaza for not only failing at killing other demon slayers, but for the lack of progress on finding the Blue Spider Lily. If you think about how Daki was praised for killing 7 pillars and was told he had high expectations for her, this kind of treatment seems incredibly unfair. However, this might be Muzan's way of controlling Akaza's motivation. In the official fanbook, Muzan claimed that Akaza was one of his favorites because of his loyalty and seriousness. Even after becoming a demon, Akaza continued to train to become stronger. So if you take this into consideration, Muzan might have deduced that it would be better motivation to stir him up rather than praise him. In reality, when Muzan pointed out that he had taken a blow from Tanjiro, Akaza looked incredibly frustrated. As one of his favorites, Muzan understood Akaza's personality. So instead of giving him praise, he pushed Akaza to become stronger as his way of showing his high expectations. Muzan and Doma. Upper rank 3 Akaza had a decent reputation, so someone ranking higher like the upper rank 2, Doma, should be another favorite, right? Shockingly, in the official fanbook, it's made clear that Muzan doesn't like him very much. It seems like Doma got promoted fairly early, so even looking at the timeline, this is pretty surprising. To Muzan, who could read the minds of all the demons, Doma's lack of emotion and his psychopathic thoughts might have been creepy. Doma was also always creepily grinning and constantly chattering, so Muzan might have also found him annoying. Muzan and Kokoshibo. The strongest demon second to Muzan, upper rank 1, Kokoshibo. Surprisingly, Muzan called him a business partner. As someone who refused to acknowledge anyone else, who refused to trust anyone else, Kokoshibo is probably the only demon Muzan saw as an equal. Their first encounter were probably the furthest back, sometime in the Sengoku period. As a human, his name was Michikatsu Sugikuni, and he was a demon slayer alongside his younger brother. Muzan became interested in the breathing styles after they began making the demon slayer core stronger. So when Michikatsu began worrying about his shortening lifespan due to his mark's appearance, Muzan invited him under his wing. If he became a demon, he would have infinite time to become stronger than his brother, Yorichi. This is how Muzan convinced Michikatsu to become a demon. Michikatsu Sugikuni, the demon slayer, became Kokoshibo. And after he killed the then head of the Ubuyashiki family, he cut his ties with Yorichi. From then, Kokoshibo eventually became Muzan's business partner. On one hand, Muzan fully acknowledges him as an equal, but on the other hand, his and Kokoshibo's relationship never changed from their master-servant relationship. As expected from a soldier, he called Muzan his lordship and said that his blood is something to be grateful for, showing his utmost respect towards Muzan. For Muzan, who never strays from his absolute monarchism and always thought he was right, Kokoshibo's samurai-like loyalty must be the reason for his trust. Muzan and Nakimi. Before she was promoted to an upper rank, Nakimi served Muzan by his side. Her first appearance was during the lower rank meeting in the Infinity Castle. It turns out that Nakimi lived nearly as long as Muzan, and Muzan considered her a favorite because of how useful she was. In fact, Muzan's plan was to bring the entire Demon Slayer Corps into the Infinity Castle and finish them off. Couldn't be executed without Nakimi. Nakimi's power set didn't include any attacks, but focused on convenience, irritating Obanai from how troublesome they were. After getting promoted to upper rank 4, she gained a new scouting ability and was praised by Muzan for her growth. Her usefulness made her irreplaceable to Muzan. Muzan and Kaigaku. Replacing Gyutaro and Daki was Zenitsu's apprentice senior and thunder-breathing user, Kaigaku. There aren't any scenes with Muzan and Kaigaku together at all. Kaigaku received blood from Kokoshibo after begging for his life, and though it hadn't been long since he turned into a demon, because he was a former demon slayer like Kokoshibo and was a breathing style user, Kokoshibo recommended him to Muzan to become the upper rank 6. From how he was defeated by Zenitsu alone, it seemed he wasn't ready for the position yet. It's unclear what Muzan thought of Kaigaku, but since he was recommended by his business partner, Muzan might have had high expectations for Kaigaku. However, it seems Muzan was already tired of the idea of breathing style users among demons. Akaza and Doma's relationship. It turns out Akaza and Doma had a surprising relationship. The two interacted after the upper rank meeting in the Infinity Castle. Doma went out of his way to mingle with Akaza, but ended up angering him, leading to Doma's head getting blown away. Even considering demons don't work together, their interaction was nowhere near nice. These two are complete opposites. On one hand, we have Akaza's serious and loyal personality, while on the other hand, Doma had his guard down from the very beginning. During the fight, Akaza used formalities only towards the people whose power he acknowledged. But in Doma's case, it didn't matter whether he was talking to Muzan or anyone else. Even their preference in the humans they eat are opposites. While Akaza refuses to eat women, Doma would choose eating women over men. The two are like water and oil, so it's no wonder they don't get along. Also, from how Doma talks, it seems like Akaza became a demon first, but because he was outranked, Akaza probably sees the two stronger demons as rivals. The only time Akaza was shown to be stronger than Doma was their last moments. Akaza was able to regenerate his head, while Doma couldn't. When you take that into consideration, Akaza might have outranked Doma. Kokoshibo and Akaza's relationship. Kokoshibo and Akaza interacted twice in the series. The first time was the upper rank meeting, and the second time was when Akaza died. The first time, Kokoshibo intercepted Akaza and Doma's fight, but because Akaza considered Kokoshibo a rival as well, it only turned his anger's focus onto Kokoshibo, saying he'll kill him one day. To that, Kokoshibo simply encouraged him and brushed it off. The second time was when Akaza died. "Weren't you going to beat me? To think you were going to give up your chance at getting stronger," he said. Kokoshibo was probably telling Akaza that he could become an even stronger demon and that he had high expectations. Compared to the other demons who used tricky blood demon techniques and were far from serious, Kokoshibo and Akaza both became demons to train more, to become stronger, and to reach the ultimate top. So Kokoshibo might have felt some kind of connection with Akaza. Kokoshibo, Doma, and Akaza relationship. How do these three feel about each other in the first place? Doma doesn't have any feelings, so he probably doesn't have any preferences. But it's clear that he looks down at Akaza. He clearly says that Akaza doesn't have the power to defeat him and Kokoshibo. Even when Doma fought the Demon Slayer Corps, his strategy was to play around in the beginning and use all of his techniques at the very end. This was so that he could analyze the battle to use later. Doma must have thought that his analytic skills were superior to Akaza's. Akaza also thought he couldn't beat Doma yet, which irritated him even further. On the other hand, Kokoshibo was confident in his position as the upper rank 1 and didn't care about any demon that wasn't Muzan. Like Muzan, Kokoshibo probably wasn't very fond of the psychopathic, chatty Doma. Doma, Gyutaro, and Daki's relationship. Speaking of demon relationships, you can't ignore Doma, Gyutaro, and Daki. Doma encounters Gyutaro and Daki when they were fighting for their lives and gives them Muzan's blood to turn them into demons. At the time, Doma was just the upper rank 6, but more than 100 years later, Doma became the upper rank 2, and the Gyutaro-Daki siblings became the upper rank 6. As juniors he picked out personally, even if he doesn't find them particularly cute, even Doma has to have some kind of feeling for the two, especially seeing them growing and progressing in the ranks. That's all for Muzan and his relationships with the upper rank demons, as well as the relationships between the upper ranks. If we dig deeper, we might find even more interesting interactions hidden throughout the series. The way Muzan treats the upper ranks, he would still give them the spot if they're strong enough. As expected from the head of an organization. Which demon relationships were you interested in? Comment down below your thoughts. Thanks for watching. We have more amazing videos coming up soon, so subscribe to stay up to date. We'll see you next time.